And we are live. Now today I'm going to be finishing this art piece that I started, I think if I'm not mistaken, last week on a Friday or Saturday. Now I recently had a surgery, nothing major, nothing that to be scared of. It was just a simple wisdom tooth extraction, though they did have to shave off some bone because of complicated reasons. Now, I'm ready to start this if you guys are ready to watch. Now, I have this already drawn. It looks pretty good to me. However, I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge. So, I'm going to attempt to draw this whole thing using only this one brush. And it's this flat brush right here. It's supposed to mimic a little bit of how paint works, you know, and it reacts to my tilt. It's a simple brush, nothing crazy, nothing that would blow anyone's mind really. So let's see if we can do some magic together. I'm just gonna clean off these edges that honestly I have no idea why I thought that this was fine before. I think it desperately needs some repairs, which we are going to do right now. I'm just gonna make this outline just a lot nicer to look at. Obviously we can do even more changes to it once we start adding lighting and shading. How is everyone today? Are you guys having fun? How has life been treating you? Remember that I do respond to chats. Again, right now I am just trying to fix a little bit of that line. Well, not line art, but yes, the lines. Hello, Olivia Parker and Kitties and Les. How are you on this lovely, lovely morning? I mean, well, not morning. I don't know if it's morning for you guys. It's not morning for me. I don't know why I said morning. It's afternoon in my time. Okay, this is almost fine. Again, I just have these really ugly lines that I just put because at the time I thought it was okay. I don't think these lines are okay, and I need to make sure that it looks as good as possible before I get to the coloring section. I would always recommend you kind of keep your lines looking as clean as possible within reason, obviously. I'm hopping on a bunch of art fight streams, says Kitties and Les. That's great. Honestly, it's really fun whenever you can watch an artist that work. Just like, you know, you kind of learn a little bit along the way. Okay, you know what? I think this is generally good. One thing is I'm also going to fix this skirt. I think, personally, that it just doesn't look that good. It looks wrong. This is not how a skirt would usually go. A skirt reacts to gravity, and this does not look like it's reacting to gravity at all. My graphics tablet is really failing right now. I have no idea why. It is charged completely, but it's just kind of glitching. It is a very old tablet. Like, legitimately, it might be older than some of you. It's the old Wacom Intuos Pro, but like 2 generations ago. Oh my god. Okay, it has to be something like this. Skirt needs to react to gravity. That's something that you should always think about. And when I was making this drawing last stream, I was really tired. I'm not gonna make excuses for myself. I was very tired, but legitimately I think that it was just, I wasn't really thinking that well, but whatever. The thing is, that skirt did not make sense when I drew it, and I should have it be something a little bit more like this. I think this kind of, yeah, this kind of captures the whole body much better. I legitimately have no idea why my tablet is just completely breaking all the time. It is, right now it's failing. I'm gonna see what happens if I can just straight up connect it directly to the computer, because one thing that you don't want is to be fighting your equipment while you're trying to, you know, make something look good. So I'm going to connect it. That's one of the good things about this, about using old tablets, is that sometimes if their wireless capabilities start failing, you can just make it wired. Kind of work better wired in my opinion, whatever. Okay. So I have this, which for those who might not be aware, I am doing a revenge against this person. They have this OC named Mimosa. This is the OC that they've created, and I am drawing their OC in my style. It's by the artist Biomkul on Art Fight. They made a lovely drawing of my character, which I will show you guys right now. They made this drawing right here of my character Pascola Payasa, and I'm going to take their character and I'm going to draw it. So enough with those explanations. You all understand what's going on. Hello, Tilted Teal. What's up? How are you on this lovely morning or afternoon or night? I have no idea what time it is where you live. So I'm just gonna add the skirt, finish up the skirt right there, just fix this up. The idea is I'm going to be doing this whole drawing with only this here brush. It's a very versatile brush, but it is also somewhat limited. Something like this. Shouldn't forget the little like apron looking thing. I think something like this is fine. You're so sleepy. Hey man, if you if you're sleepy, you can go to sleep. My stream is not going to discover the cure for cancer here. I'm just drawing, so don't be afraid to fall asleep. Usually influencers would want you to stay here as much as possible. Don't leave me. But I'm not most influencers. I would prefer that you know, felt comfortable here. Now I'm going to try a little bit of the mixer brush. I'm not really used to how this thing works. Nope, I have no idea how this is supposed to work. Maybe a dry load. Yeah, I think a dry load works a little bit better. I'm going to lock the layer so that I can draw and paint all over it like this. It's a little bit faster. I'm going to color all the different parts, and I'm going to be using my photo reference for this. my plan is to then, I'm going to just color it like the photo reference, something like that. And then what I'm going to do is actually edit the layer itself, and I'm going to make it darker. That way I'm working with mid-tones mostly, and not just like these very, very light tones. Personally, I don't like working with from all the way up, all very light to very dark. I want it to be a little bit more, you know, middle. Oh my God, you're reminding me to drink water. Yes, I have been drinking a lot of water, mostly because it's less of me being more responsible by hydrating, and actually more because I just had my wisdom teeth extracted, and they limited my diet to mostly bland foods, which I do not like. So I've just kind of been drinking water as a replacement. That is not medical advice, by the way. That is a really bad way of living. I'm gonna lighten it even more right here so I could just focus on getting these colors right. But yes, I have my water, and I have my water right next to me so that I will be taking frequent drinks and not die. Yeah. As they say, hydrate before you dihydrate. I would also usually not be color picking everything, but it is very convenient to just be able to click on it, so that's what we're gonna do. Hello, JXST Maquillo, how are you? Are you doing fine, doing great? I hope so, because this is the best live stream ever, and I would not like it for you to be feeling bad while viewing it. It's all about having fun, right, everybody? I don't know why I'm acting like I'm some sort of TV presenter for the world's worst kids show. This week we'll also get pieces like little ice cream, I guess. The idea is that I'm only going to be drawing this with this one brush. No other brushes are allowed here. Just me and my simple, no nonsense, no frills brush. Again, it's pretty versatile. It's not like I'm limiting myself that much here. Let's be perfectly honest. But, you know, I'm gonna have to try to get all the interesting textures that I like, all just, yeah, just, you know, with the brush itself. Let's get this. The one, I do like the character design. I think it's cute, it's endearing, but the one thing I would probably change is make more clear the difference between the hair color and the skin color. I do think that it's very similar. I'm just selecting them and they look almost identical here. Just slightly warmer on the face. But that's a pretty small piece of criticism. It's really not criticism much at all. It's just something that I would probably change personally. It is still a great design, and that's always been my favorite part. This is my first year participating in Art Fight, but I was always, for years, somewhat aware of it because some of my mutuals would talk about it, or they would post their pictures. And again, I thought that it was like some sort of weird, like you would have to animate your character fighting the others, but it's absolutely not the case. But I always was impressed by the sheer ingenuity of the character designs. Oh, hello, K Hamsta, or Kamsta as I like to say. Yes, it is very kawaii desu nya. Yes, it is. I know you did not actually put the nya thing or the desu part, but I just had to. It was such a stupid joke. Okay. I got most of the colors there, and now I just need the outfit. Just gonna, again, color pick it. It's easier like this. I have the color picker. It's funny because I color pick it, and it's like that's the way to get it the most accurate, but also I'm going to, how do you call it? Like I put a hue saturation on the brush that I use so that it's not exactly the color. It is a bit absurd. I just realized that I colored this in with the absolute wrong color here. Do I like art fighting? I've grown to like it, absolutely. Again, this is my first time in an art fight, so like I wouldn't really say I like it in the sense that I'm not like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like I'm barely starting. I just got here. But yes, I've been enjoying art fights a lot. I feel like there's so many great character designs. They're all so interesting, and it's just really great to be able to look at what people are coming up with. There's so much creativity, and I mean I think these are just. I'm gonna add the things already, but I'm probably going to have to do some Photoshop magic when it comes to these socks, because I've always found it pretty difficult to do these kind of patterns and shading at the same time. So I'm probably going to do some Photoshop magic with it, but I'm going to start adding them here anyway. I mean, it's just a bunch of stripes. How to do this to be the best? What's your favorite part of art fight? I like to see people's comments to the attacks, perchance you to encourage me. I think my favorite part of art fight is, okay, it's gonna be hard because a part of me, the thing that I like is obviously I like the fact that I draw a character, like I make an OC, and I get to see the way people experiment with it. They just like take the drawing that I made and they run with it, and that's just like, for me, that's really fascinating because I feel like everybody has their own way of taking something and just running with it. However, I would also say that just looking at all the incredible designs that people come up with, that is probably even better for me. I just really enjoy seeing people kind of just like really explore their mind, really come up with something new and interesting. Like not every design is like a home run. Not every design is the most creative in the world, but it's still, even the more, I guess, novice artists out there still come up with interesting designs. I think it's just that, seeing what other people make. That's probably my favorite. K Hamster asks, do you only art fight with mutuals? No, I art fight anyone, at any time, any place. It could be anyone. The one thing is that right now, I'm just art fighting the people that have done a, how do you call it, that have attacked me. Right now I'm kind of in a streak with making revenge, which for those who don't know, it's when you basically, like, an attack is when you draw somebody else's OC, and revenge is when you draw someone else's OC after they've drawn yours. So that's what I've been doing. I think this drawing is looking excellent so far, but I think it's about time that we wrap up the simple parts, which are going to be just setting down the colors. Color is always pretty simple, very easy. Not the most insane thing that anyone's ever seen. You know what, let me just draw this white part of the eye first. The white part of the eye. And then we start adding these colors right here. The idea is once I'm done, the line art is going to just go away. I'm not going to keep the sketch that I've done. I'm going to just completely erase it. And the reason for that is because making actually good line art takes up time, and it's not actually that necessary. I come from a bit of an old school background when it comes to these things. Like my way of doing art is a little bit old school in the sense that lines aren't really a thing that exists in the real world. It's mostly shifts in value, just like some parts are lighter, some parts are darker, and it's the contrast between those two values that is the thing that decides how we perceive the drawing or the object or whatever. So hopefully by the end of this, it's just going to be I'm going to be able to take off the line art, this sketch layer, and it will still look good. It will be readable as something. K Hamster says, wow, such a sugoi drawing. Thank you very much. It is supremely sugoi. I'm not really much of an anime fan anymore, but I do know what that word means. Thank you very much. Okay, now that this very basic sketch is finished, just quickly I'm going to copy it, hide one of the layers, and I'm going to go to the camera raw filter. I'm going to lower the exposure, which is going to darken the whole thing. And I'm going to start from like just something like this, maybe trying to come up with like a mid-tone. How would the mid-tones look like? And then I could go and I could lighten, I could darken, all that jazz. But it's very important for me to kind of get that looking right. So I'm going to just do something like this, just make it look right, maybe increase a bit of the texture, and maybe, you know what, I'm going to make parts of it slightly more, like a slightly bluish tint, just very slightly, just 0.3%, negative 0.3% on the temperature, negative 3, something like that, just to have the shadows be a little bit, a little bit more blue. Tilted Teal asks, does Pascola have any lore, like besides from her character? Does she have any backstory? No, I wouldn't say she has much of lore. However, I would say that she is Mexican. Like that's kind of the story idea. But besides that, I really have nothing planned for her character. I was just trying to come up with a character that was a clown, that was mischievous, and that's kind of what I made the character. I do have another clown character that I have, and that one does have a backstory. I think I have several, I I have a YouTube video and a short around that character, which was my character Lucy Fool, which is a demon clown girl. I should have a picture. In fact, I was heavily considering just like having the. I was considering just uploading this character right here that I made. This is my other clown girl character named Lucy Fool, and I was originally going to just upload this one. I would just have this, and that would be my OC. But I made this one long before Art Fight 2026 started, and I didn't feel right having this. I think the rules do say that you should prioritize making a new character for Art Fight and not just repeat stuff from like either past years or stuff that you've done prior to Art Fight. So this one does have a bit more lore, has a bit of a backstory, but Pascola Payasa, no, she does not have a backstory. You are free to come up with whatever you want for her. Again, I do have in the permissions. You could do whatever you want, just don't make her boring. And if you're curious about what Lucy Fool does, like what her character is that she is a fallen angel. She wants to get back into heaven, but God won't let her unless she's able to bring smiles to 10,000 people. It's a pretty simple story, and people have told me that it reminds them of like Panty and Stocking or like some other shows that already exist, which is always pretty lame because it's like I swear I came up with that independent from them, but yeah, it does kind of sound like those stories. Right here, I'm just trying to get get some lighting and shadow to look right in this drawing. Again, I would say the most important part of any drawing is your values and your contrast. That's the most important thing in any drawing whatsoever. And it could be animated, it could be anything. But if you get your values and your contrast to look right, then everything else will just follow. K Hamster says, you seem to have a bunch of clown characters. Are all your OCs clowns? Not all of them, but I do have quite a lot. I would say that my best OCs are clowns. But no, not all of them are clowns. Now, right now, I'm focusing on the skin, and I'm focusing on trying to get the values to look about right. They don't have to be perfect because as we work on the other parts, on adding the terminal, the terminal, which is the transition between light and dark, as we add the small details, the subsurface scattering, any of that fancy stuff, we can always make corrections. But right now I'm focusing only on getting the values to look somewhat correct. Now I'm noticing I have a photo reference that I can't show because it is a nude, but I do have a photo reference that I'm using, and most of this leg area is how do you call it? Yeah, most of the leg area is mostly like in shadow. There are parts that are not, but most of it is in shadow. Something like this, it looks about right. I have actually never used this, I have used it only once, the mixer brush tool in Photoshop. It's supposed to mimic a little bit more closely the way that paints work, but it's not the easiest thing to use. I would say it's kind of, it's not like it's not an advanced tool by any stretch of the imagination, but it isn't as simple as just using a standard Photoshop brush. It's just a smidge more difficult. I would say something like this, but the legs need to be even darker in some areas. I still need to make sure that it doesn't look like I'm suddenly making the character like really dark, really dark skin. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I do want it to look somewhat like the character looks in the specific, reference sheet. So I'm gonna just make this part darker. By making this part of the arm even darker, we can actually make it look like it's further in the background. So we know that this arm is in front of this other arm because this other arm is in a much deeper shadow. These fingers are in front of this part of the hand because there's this part that's darker, you know. It's all about making sure that your values, the contrast is there, you know. You could even, like me, I have it set to, there's a shortcut on Photoshop, and then we can make it grayscale at any point of my drawing. I would say that really helps make sure that my values are exactly how I want them, and no darker or lighter. I would also say one of the best types of brushes that you can get is probably like this type of simple brush. It's like a flat brush, like if it's like a painting, like a flat brush. And if you notice, it kind of has this mix that it creates, because I have it set with the mixer brush with a wet and light mix. And I think that looks much better. It looks really nice. And make this part darker because there are two light sources in my reference. One of them is coming over here like that, and it's a more white, like a neutral light. And there's also one over here that is coming, but it's a more bluish light. But both of them would not be able to see much of this part of the leg because the arms and the body are covering it. So that's why I'm making the legs somewhat dark. I think something like this, I would say something like this would be a good shade of brown for this. And again, if you notice, it simulates the painting experience, not like perfectly, but it does simulate it somewhat well. I'm not the best painter, clearly, but something like this, it looks fine. You should always try to make, if something's meant to be smooth, especially like a leg, to try to get that to look actually smooth. Always focus on the values that you have. Something like this looks perfect, that looks good. Would you ever do a subscriber special if you had more subscribers? I absolutely would be willing to do a subscriber special. However, I'm not really, so far, I would say it's a bit too early for something like that. So far, 2,000 subscribers, it's something, it's great, and I'm grateful for everyone that has subscribed, but it's also, I'm still starting out. Later we can come up with something fun to do. Just trying to make this kind of, there's this, in value studies, there's always something called like a terminal, or the terminus, I think, which is a transition between the light and the dark. I'm trying to kind of get that looking somewhat decent here. Needs to be a little bit darker. Just a smidge, something like this. And I'm going to make sure that it's, if you notice, I'm trying to give it a little bit of a red tint to that transition, because of a concept called subsurface scattering. For anyone who might not be aware of it, subsurface scattering is basically the idea that since skin is actually not fully transparent nor fully opaque, transparent meaning that you can see through it, opaque meaning that you can't, since it's semi-translucent, what you get when light hits the skin is you see a little bit of the blood that is underneath, and that creates this slightly more reddish hue to the transition between light and dark. So if you've ever drawn something in color and you feel like, oh, how come it looks a little bit lifeless, it's probably because you have no subsurface scattering present in your drawing. It's something pretty small, a lot of people don't even notice it, but I would say it's a very useful thing to keep in mind when you're painting skin, because you absolutely want those subtleties to show through. Same thing with any type of I think the skin tends to be a little bit more gray, a little bit more bluish near the beard, especially for men. So you should probably incorporate that too in your drawing. Things like that. It's always good to try your best to mimic how things actually look like in real life. Something like this looks pretty good. I like the way it's looking so far. And now I'm going to get a little bit more of this lighter color and make it more yellow. And that way I can add a little bit of the light. Like this, we can have a little bit more of the light, and if you notice, it looks pretty nice. It looks clean, it's interesting, and most of the hand, these fingers are not going to be in light. They're going to be in shadow, because all of them are mostly looking away from the light. There's going to be just a little bit of light on things like the knuckles right there. Obviously not that much. Something very subtle. And we can work on the lighting and shading of the hand a bit later. This hand as well, we could start, I'm going to start adding a little bit more of detail, but I do want to finish this drawing hopefully soon. So I'm not going to get too carried away just yet, but I do want to add just enough detail that it reads well like a hand and not like some weird smudge in the paper. Something like this kind of adds a bit of the shadow right there. This thumb is going to be mostly in shadow as well. Going to be mostly in shadow right here. We need to make this part darker because it's basically like the terminal, the transition between the light and dark. Remember that the transition between light and dark is almost always going to be a bit darker because of the fact that the transition doesn't get much of the direct light nor the bounce lights. There are not that many objects that are facing opposite of it that are giving it any type of light. So it should be basically as dark as that is going to get. Something a bit like this looks pretty good. And I would say that from a distance, this hand looks decent. Not incredible, but it looks somewhat decent. Again, if I have time, I will fix all of these small mistakes of the hand. I will make it look even better. But for now, we're going to have to keep on keeping on because we don't want to spend a million years on this. Better knock on wood when you say you want to get it done soon. Yeah, I know. It looks like I'm taking forever, but this is actually not that bad of a pace. We're still in good pace. We're not going to spend 2 hours on it. Hopefully it could be done in an hour, hour and a half. Now this entire part right here needs to be in shadow because it's going to be facing away from the light. There are going to be some parts that are going to be lighter, but most of the face is in shadow except for the entire left hand side. That part is in fact going to be in light. Something like this. And there is hair right here that is going to cast the shadow. It's going to be a bit of shadow right here. The transition in the eyes. And we gotta make sure that something around right here, this is where the chin and the lips are, this is also gonna be somewhat dark. That looks pretty good, pretty good. K Hamster says, it's a pretty nice drawing relative to the time you're taking. I believe you take longer than me. One thing is, although I do have quite a lot of art made, I am fairly slow. I've noticed I'm fairly slow when it comes to a lot of things in life, even though a lot of people for some reason assume I'm fast at things. I think they assume just because I am very dedicated to what I do. Like, for example, I also like to read a lot. And a lot of people have this idea that I read quickly, but I don't. I read pretty slowly. I just read a lot. Same thing with my drawings. I mean, there are drawings that have taken me upwards of, like 13 hours. And that's way too much to be spending on any one thing. Whatever. I think most of the skin is looking quite good. We can make a little bit of the face darker because this part of the nose is basically not going to be looking anywhere near the light. So I'm going to try to make this part of the nose a little bit darker, like this. This kind of helps make it look a little bit nicer. Looks a little bit more three-dimensional. I'm always trying to think of the 3D form. Again, even if you're drawing something like anime, this is very anime-like, you should always be thinking of how the form wraps around the body, the head, the hair, everything of this sort. That's basically the face. I'm just going to have this part right here. We should lighten this part of the cheek up because the light will be able to hit it a bit there. You know what? I'm going to continue with the face because I just realized that we also need a mouth. And right here in the character, we're not really given much in terms of like mouth. But I think we could, at the very least, add some lips. Lips are very useful. They're very expressive parts of the body. So I'm going to add that very quickly, very simply. Like a little bit of a like lipstick, I guess. Tilted Teal says, I take 1 billion years to finish a drawing, sometimes up to 6 hours for one piece. 6 hours, dang. I mean, I just finished saying that I've taken 13 hours, so I can't even judge. But, I mean, the truth is, what I always say is, good art takes time. Like, if you want something that looks exactly like you have in your mind, yeah, it's probably not going to be done in a few minutes. It's going to take a while. But just like baking a cake, you have to put it in the oven and wait. Sometimes when you're painting, you're going to have to spend a long time in that oven. But you know that the end result is going to be totally worth it. I think something like this looks pretty good. And now I'm going to add a little bit more, some more bright spots on the face. I think the brightest spots are going to be this part of the lip that's facing upward right here. Like that. Plus the chin right here. We can add a bit of highlight. And especially this nose. The nose is probably going to be the brightest part, so we got to make sure that it looks nice and shiny. That is going to help us define the brightness right here, the face, the form. And for the lips, I'm going to make it a little bit brighter right here at this top, like that. And make sure that it's still pretty red. I'm noticing that I'm kind of giving it a bit of orange. Something like this. This will help it look more round, full, like if they're actual lips. Again, from a distance, it looks a lot better. When you zoom in too much, it kind of looks a little bit awkward, but I think that looks good, defined, decent. It's got a little bit of character. Now we got to focus on giving everything else the same treatment, but I'm going to do it faster. I focus a lot on the skin, that's my favorite part, but we got to make these parts darker. So we're going to make this part fairly dark. I want the colors to pop. Now this entire area, like I said, there is one light that is like kind of in front, and there's another light that's basically just like, there's like a blue light in the back. So I'm going to try to kind of capture that vibe, but most of the torso is going to be in almost complete darkness. I am going to remember to add the stripes again, and we're going to use some Photoshop magic to get them just right. Something like this will help us get these colors right. Now I think the this mixer brush is kind of screwing me over a little bit, but it's fine. we can still use it, mix it up a little bit. And I mean, I did make it a bit too dark anyway. Like this, we can kind of mix it up, make it just a bit lighter in some areas. And I think that will make it look a smidge better. Is the more time you take on a drawing make the drawing better? No, it does not make the drawing better. I would actually say a lot of the times it makes it worse. But the thing is that some drawings, by their very nature, are going to take quite a while. Like, there's no getting around it. So if like your goal is to make everything as quickly as possible, well, sometimes you're just gonna have to spend a long time on one. Like there are no shortcuts to life. Sometimes things just take a long time. The important thing is that it is still worth it. At least when it comes to the drawings that I make, a lot of the times, even if I take like way too long, I usually come out of it and I'm like, you know what? That took forever, but I'm glad I did it. I think it turned out excellent. And now I'm ready to move on to something else. Something like this looks pretty fine. We're gonna continue the same treatment with the skirt. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this is just the fact that the skirt kind of covers the pelvis, which is one of my favorite parts of any drawing, any figure drawing. I find the pelvis to be very interesting to look at. It's a lot of kind of complicated and weird shapes. And the skirt's gonna cover most of that, and especially the back, the glutes. But it's fine. I think we're gonna have to just make do with what we got. One thing I like about the mixer brush is just these more accidental parts of my drawing. Like, I'm not trying to make it look exactly like this, but it still kind of comes out looking like it, and it just, I don't know, it just looks really nice. Salamander says, what did I miss? You missed my awesome explanation on lighting, but you should still stick around. We got plenty of excellent stuff left to discuss. For anyone that might be joining in, this is somebody else's character. His character named Mimosa, and I am doing an art revenge on the artist. Okay, so something like this, that looks fine, looks decent. This right here needs to be even darker, but we cannot make it look too dark. You gotta make sure that the apron is still like easy to read, as, you know, it's a white apron, but it's still in shadow. And that's always kind of a tricky thing to have to do. Like right there, I'm trying my best to make it look like, yeah, like it's an apron, it's dark, it's in shadow, but it's brighter than the rest of the stuff right there. It's brighter than most of the things around it. I think something like that looks somewhat decent, but I preferred that more pinkish hue that I had before. Maybe something like this would look right. Yeah, I think that looks nicer. Okay, Hamster thinks this is the equivalent of the Mona Lisa being painted. Honestly though, this is gonna get me canceled, but I actually am not the biggest fan of the Mona Lisa. Like, I don't know, like it's pretty good, but it's also a bit simple. And that's coming from a guy who spends most of his time drawing this. But I feel like it's a very simple like composition wise and everything. It's still obviously a great piece of art, but I do feel like there are a lot of much better Da Vinci paintings. There's a lot better like I think most of Caravaggio's paintings would eclipse the Mona Lisa, like easily. But that's just me being a bit of an art nerd. Tilted Teal says, I really like hearing your voice, very soothing and college professoring. Now, I've never worked at a college, but technically speaking, I am a teacher. I teach middle school. The only thing is, obviously, my students do not like the sound of my voice because my voice means there's a class to be taking. And let's face it, kids don't really like classes. Not usually. Obviously, the art kids, the kids who live and breathe art, they love my class, but everybody else is not a big fan. Trying to get this to look about right. I do think that's a bit too much. That looks pretty good. Tilted Teal says, get the pitchforks, guys. He doesn't like the Mona Lisa. Yeah, I don't like the Mona Lisa. Except for the hands. The hands are, dare I say, sexy, but that's about it. Hope that you guys get what I'm referencing with that, or that's gonna sound legit insane. Okay, right here, this part needs to be much darker. This is like the terminal of where the skirt is, so I'm gonna make sure that's a bit darker. Again, I like the mixer brush, even though I'm pretty bad at using it, but it's just really good at getting you like these blends. You could easily blend stuff. Even if you don't know much about how to blend, it's basically got a built-in smudging tool. So that looks really nice. I would probably want to darken this entire area just a bit more, but I do think that if I start doing it, like if you notice, it's gonna be a bit hard to get that to look darker without just completely messing up all these colors. But I think that looks fine, that looks good, and most importantly, I am going to brighten some parts. Salamander, yeah. Oh, to the Teal, you didn't get the reference. Oh, it's just that there's a character. There's a show called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and there's a character that is like sexually attracted to the Mona Lisa's hands. Like it's a weird thing for him, but like that's his start with his obsession with hands. I don't think I could explain it any better than that. The Mona Lisa painting's not smashable. It absolutely is. Like, I'm sorry, but you're just like wrong about this. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong, but that's what you are right now. So sorry to have to be the breaker of bad news. What's my favorite brush? I would probably say it's the custom brush that I made that's like a smiley face. I think that one's great. I love that brush. Probably my other favorite would be Mark Brunet's legendary line art brush. This one right here, the MB Line Art Legendary, that is one of my most used brushes, definitely. Anything is smashable, just get a hammer. Please do not do that with the Mona Lisa. I don't like it that much, but it's probably better if we don't smash that thing with a hammer. Paint strokes on your canvas are like hot. I don't know how to tell you this. I did say that one of my favorite brushes is the smiley face brush. I did in fact say that. It's also one of my favorites, but like what else can I say? I'm gonna switch to like a regular brush instead of a mixer one to darken a little bit of this. I'm gonna darken a bit of the socks right here. I'm gonna set it to like multiply, and I'm gonna make it darker. That's kind of the cool part about using digital tools, because you can now kind of, I mean, it's not really cheating, but you would not be able to get away with this with actual paint. Like that, it just kind of looks a little bit nicer, a little bit better. It's not like the most insane shading work I've ever done. I don't usually like using the mixer brush. I don't really like using, sorry, not the mixer brush. I love the mixer brush. No, I usually don't like using multiply on my brushes, because it has the tendency to kind of look a little bit artificial, a little bit fake. It also kind of saturates it a bit too much for my liking. But other than that, I think it's looking pretty good. I'm just gonna try to make this part not look like a complete mess. I'm gonna try to blend these a little bit more. You notice it's much darker, like it's darker near the legs. Most of the light that we see in this bottom part right here on the socks is actually coming from the bottom. It's actually more of a bounce light than anything, and that's why it looks the way it does. It's mostly bounce light that we're seeing. One thing that's good about the fact that this character has socks is that I don't have to draw the feet, which are pretty hard. Can we bake a cake on the Mona Lisa? No. Do not use that as a baking tray. Okay, I'm noticing that the legs are just a bit too boring. So I'm gonna try to increase the saturation near the shadow area. Gotta make sure that it's not too desaturated, because we have to make sure that it kind of looks like the human body looks right. So far, everything is turning out excellent. The hair is probably the hardest part of this drawing, almost certainly. So we back in the mines, got our pickaxe swinging from side to side, side to side. Is it that song that you're referencing? The Minecraft parody song? Tilted Teal says, as a child I yearned for the mines. Oh, it seems like they all did. All children yearn for the mines. That's what they truly want deep down, to go back and do child labor. I really hope this does not get clipped. Okay, I'm going to darken the entire part right here, this entire bottom, where the back of the hair is. This needs to be pretty dark because it's behind everything. So obviously can't go too dark, because at the end of the day it's light colored hair. I'm going to darken it even more, make it a little bit more reddish, heading on to like pink that way, it kind of looks like it's taking on the colors of, yeah, that are around it. Something like this looks pretty good. Not too light, not too dark. I will worry that it might start blending in with the hand behind it, but oh my god, they already clipped it. Good god. No. This is not useful to my career. What if I get canceled a second time? Because again, I already said that the Mona Lisa wasn't that good, so I'm already basically canceled. Okay, we got the hair, this part of the hair to look somewhat decent. Now this is the bad part about using just like one layer for everything, is that, especially with this mixer brush, the second I touch a little bit of the hand or the head, my brush gets a little bit dirty. It's like if everything is a bit wet. Yeah, why do we have so many animals? A bird, a possum, a hamster now. I think it's because everybody is a furry here. That's the actual answer. We're all furries, everybody in here. And if you don't think you're a furry, I got bad news for you, because now you are. Everyone on my stream is officially a furry. Get your persona now. Hey man, I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. Everybody's a furry now. It's just the way things are. No offense to any actual furries in the audience. Oh my god, hair is so complicated and I don't have any good reference for it. I'm just gonna have to kind of make things up as I go. Which is most of art. Most of art is making things up as you go. Okay, we're gonna add this. I just realized that I'm probably spending more work than the original artist did on theirs. Like, it's a good character design, but it has all flat shading. Is it still furry if the animal they dress up as doesn't have fur? Technically speaking, no. I think technically those are called scalies if they have scales. So if your character has scales, you're scaly. But of course, I do not know the nomenclature of these weird animal peeps. Well, they're not weird, actually. Pretty cool. But, you know what I mean? I gotta admit, furries are pretty cool. Every time I meet one, it turns out that they've got like mansion. They have a house of their own and they study like neuroscience or computer science, or they got a PhD in physics. It's kind of insane, if I'm again being perfectly honest with you guys. Like, if it's a bald cat, is it still a furry? Technically, even the Sphinx cats, which are what those bald cats are, even Sphinx cats actually do have fur. Like, they are not completely bald. They have a little bit of fur to them. Not a lot, though. They say that they kind of feel like, when you pet them, they feel like you're petting leather. If that makes any sense. Which honestly sounds cool as hell, but you know, that's just me. something like this, and I am going to make this part in shadow as well. Okay, some of the hair is done. Right now I'm going to try to work on the drawing without any of the line art still open. Yes, I do actually agree with you, Salamander. Bald cats are really cute. I don't know why they're considered like ugly by some people. I feel like they're just straight up wrong. They're cute, they're interesting, and they're also like really playful. Those cats are like super energetic all the time. At the very least, that's like that's the thing that they always say about them, that they're very energetic. Again, I've never had one myself, but I've heard a lot of things about them. I was interested in getting one, but those are, they require their own special like care. You can't just like treat them like any other cat, because if they go outside, they have to have like, you know, like some type of sunscreen. Snakes are also adorable, yeah, absolutely. All you guys are based for some reason. This ribbon does not look right at all. But it's fine, we're gonna just like continue with this. It's mostly just because I'm trying to do it quickly, not focusing too much on getting it to look perfect. Something simple like that, and darken this even more, and that way I can have it be, you know, have a little bit more contrast. One of the most important parts of drawing is the contrast. Light and dark, the midtones, everything, they should have a bit of contrast to them. Because if there's enough contrast, then we can tell what it is that you're drawing. Make this even smaller right here. Something like this, that looks good. Have I ever seen a stingray? I've never seen a stingray, like a baby stingray. I've just seen regular ones. I'll take your word for it that they have like ravioli eyes. Okay, right here, I'm just going to darken a little bit of this part of the hairband. And the ice cream part, let's see how we can get it to look like ice cream. Should still have some lighting and shadow right here. I'm going to add something like this. I'm kind of like trying to picture this drawing like if there's, yeah, those two light sources, one on the left, one on the right, things like that. I think that looks pretty good. Not exactly like ice cream, but it looks fairly decent. And we're gonna just darken some parts of it. Just dab in some color. Looks more like mashed potatoes, if I'm being perfectly honest. Again, let's get the regular brush. We have it set to multiply. And this is gonna help us get exactly the right color. Just like that. And then we go back to our mixer brush and we just like select this part. And like that, we just kind of blend it in. Just blend it in, then blend it in. this, and then later we're gonna go in and add the other shadow on the other side, and the other light. Wobble gongs? What's a wobble gong? I gotta stop to check what's a wobble gong. What's that? Holy cow, that's a real thing. Thought you were making this up. This is a wobble gong? Wow. Dang. It's cool. Oh yeah, sharks are so interesting. They're pretty misunderstood though. Okay, something like that. Looks fine. Add a little bit of this bright light here. Something like this. I think that looks pretty good. I am gonna darken a little bit, just more of this part right here. I'm gonna have to like include a little bit of the neck maybe. No, we're gonna just darken this part because because I'm noticing that it's just like the head is starting to kind of get lost in here. This way we can increase a little bit of the contrast between these parts, and like the head just kind of pops out just a little bit more, just a smidge. That looks a little bit better. Again, I have a little thing to check the light and shadow of any drawing of mine. Darken this part just a little bit because I want to go in and darken even more parts of the hair. I would say hair is probably still the thing that I have the least amount of experience drawing. It is just so complicated. It's just like there's so many strands and everything, and like I'm trying to get into this, like trying to think about it in terms of like just like it's just another part of light and shadow. It's not anything crazy. It's not reinventing the wheel here, but it's still so difficult to get exactly right. I should probably do the hair from further away, because if I zoom in it becomes just like a complete mess. Yeah, we're basically, you guys are basically having your own conversation right there. I think something like this is pretty fine. It's decent. And then we can add a little bit of like the highlights afterwards. And the highlights, I'm gonna just kind of think of them like how I do cartoon characters. I'm not gonna bother like with anything more complex than that. I think it's about time that I darken a little bit, add more detail to the different parts, but not quite yet. I'm going to start adding a little bit of the blue parts of the light that's coming from over here. The light that's coming from the right is a bit bluish, and the one coming from the left is more neutral. So I'm going to try to make this part, the lights, be just not blue yet, not completely blue, but it should be kind of getting there, slightly bluish. Something like this. That looks pretty good. I'm going to make it just a little bit brighter, keep it in that same general area. And like that, I feel like the arm already looks a little bit more interesting. It looks just a bit more three-dimensional. I would definitely say, especially like if you're gonna like photograph somebody, having either a bounce light or like this, some sort of like slightly different color secondary light, that really helps kind of seal the three-dimensionality of whatever it is that you're drawing. Something like that. Wow, Salamander, you're a bakery student. That sounds cool. I have never learned how to bake a single thing in my life, sadly. I think I'm bringing the light a bit too down. I think something like this, and I'm actually gonna make it even more blue, and this time we're gonna actually go like blue right there. Something like this looks just about right. I think that looks about right, and I'm gonna add just like this part right here. It's kind of like if it's just catching a bit of the light and it's separating right there. Something like that. That looks pretty good. Looks fine and dandy, like salty candy. Let's add this part right here. Let's make it brighter. Like that. There's the breast right here. It needs to be brighter. Same thing right here. This is where the pelvis is. Oh my god, K Hamsta is #1 now? That's insane. Now there's this part I'm noticing in my reference is a little bit, it's got a slightly more bluish tint to it because it's hitting a little bit of that other light source. Something like this. Looks really nice. I am just loving this. I'm really enjoying how this drawing is turning out. And I'm not even mad that it's taking me way longer than it should. Okay, I'm gonna kind of smooth this part over, just a smidge. Now this part of the leg, this is gonna be a bit complicated. I'm not gonna like it that much. Holy cow. A hamster farted so hard it scared itself and died. Wow, that's insane. No idea if that's true or not, but I'm gonna just believe it because I think it's more interesting if we live in a world where things like that are true. Rest in peace. Something like this. I'm gonna darken a bit of the leg right here. That looks good. I'm gonna add the bounce lights that is on the leg right here. It's like a little bit of a bounce light. I'm gonna select this, make it brighter, a little bit closer to yellow, and I'm gonna add like this little part right here and this right here. And that's basically where the bounce light is. Same thing just right here. Like that. That's kind of more or less how that part of the leg is looking in the reference that I'm using. I'm gonna go with my regular brush now, remove the opacity, and I'm gonna go in here and just kind of like get it to look exactly how I want it. I'm gonna just kind of fix this up just a little bit more. That looks a bit better. Yeah, hamsters, I've heard a lot of things about hamsters and how they die. Like for some reason, a lot of people like in the United States have at least one story about like, oh yeah, we had a hamster once in second grade, and the guy just like straight up disappeared one day, and then we found the body like 3 months later, and it's like, what the hell? How does that happen? How do we get to that point? Something like this. Oh my god, this is taking me way too long. Okay, let's add a little bit of the shadow right here. I'm noticing that there isn't as much of a distinction between the two legs in the reference. Oh yeah, anyone joining this stream is going to be really confused by everybody's talking about animals all of a sudden. But like, aren't we all just animals in our own way? The answer is yes. I'm going to darken this part right here. Just kind of make it clearer what I'm looking at. Looks pretty good. I'm going to darken this entire area. Now that I think of it, it doesn't make sense otherwise. I think it should all be mostly dark because we are in shadow right here. Ah, yeah, that looks better. That looks better. This bow is not looking quite right. I'm just take off the wobble gong. I'm just noticing a lot of things that I am missing in this drawing that I've not added, and I don't know if I'm going to add. Is this really looking like the Mimosa character? Like I feel like it's already starting to look radically different. I have to make sure that I add the different parts of it, like the stripes on the, stripes right here, the little polka dots right there. I'm gonna start adding that type of thing. Okay, right here, basically, like cupping the breast area. this part is like a bit lighter. We're gonna use that to our advantage. We're gonna do something like this, but we're gonna make this part just less pink, slightly less pink, so that we know that it's like a different color. I think something like that is a little bit better. Does this look right? Does this look right? I think so. And we're gonna add like the little, these like round bits right there, like if it's lace. We're gonna add a bit of lace right there. That looks good, looks cute, perfect. Like that. That looks right. And I'm gonna make this part like lighter. Now there are so many different ways that one can accomplish that task. Right here, I'm just gonna darken it even more because it's still in shadow. Like I have to remember that I am still having it be in shadow. That's a little bit better. The background should be a stretched out wobble gong. I'm going to file that under, I'll consider it. Okay, I'm gonna put maybe like a hard light mode right there. No, that's not gonna work. Ooh, I have an idea. I can always just like, this is a really cool cheat when it comes to like this type of stuff. Maybe we use like the lasso tool. You can just like select it. Yeah, we could just like make a selection instead. And that way I just change the selection, whatever I have selected, I just change that. And then I do any like fixes, corrections, like after the fact. This is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But I think it can get us some of the way there. This is why some people like Mark Brunette have their colors and their lighting and shadows in separate layers, but I don't do that. So we're gonna put camera raw filter, we're gonna make it have more exposure, we're changing the colors just a little bit, temperature a little bit more like that. We're gonna keep the contrast right there, and just like that we have these the world's ugliest stripes. This is actually terrible. I do not like that at all. Maybe we can blur that. We can, no. We're just gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Actually color it. There's no cheat codes here. No, that's not gonna work. So we're gonna do it properly, I guess. I guess we're gonna put it in like, not soft light. You know, we're gonna just keep it normal. Keep it normal, and we'll just follow. Yeah, follow that. Oh, we'll set it to lighten. This way we don't mess up any of the light that we already have in the drawing. We just focus on changing the other parts. Something a little bit more like this. This brush is really, really cramping my style right now. Let's just do something like this right here. Something like that, a little bit. That's fine. This is not the best way of doing this at all. This is actually one of the worst ways that you can possibly do this design. The Adobe Photoshop ways are beyond me. They're beyond me too. It's insane how I've worked with this software for so many years and I don't understand how it works that well. But what else? That looks halfway decent. Does it look decent? I think it does. I think it looks pretty good. We're gonna just have to go with it even if it doesn't. It's like one of my favorite people once said, art is like a baby. Even if it's ugly, you have to keep it. I'm gonna just darken these parts. Really hate it, no. Something like this looks a little bit better. We can have a little bit more contrast between the different parts. Have this part be a little bit darker right there. I guess the idea is that the fabric is covering a little bit of the light. You've been using Ibis Paint? Yeah, I mean, all of these software are just like really complex. I mean, they're made to try to satisfy as many people as possible. And some people have radically different workflows. So it makes sense that, like, I mean, you don't use every single part of the tool all the time. This looks fine. It's not bad, but I am taking way too long working on this and I am getting unbelievably tired, but we will finish this today. There's no going back. We gotta make sure that this looks finished, that this looks good. I need to get my shit together. I think you could easily tell what parts I had like some sort of quality reference for and which parts I'm making things up with. The hair I had no reference, the face as well. The clothes, most definitely not. I did not have a good reference for that. Okay, we're gonna darken this part right here. As much as I like the mixer brush, I definitely prefer using just the regular one. Just my regular, normal ass, regular ass, Donkey Kong, you know. That also did not make sense. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm gonna darken this part right here. Thank you, Salamander. Thank you for believing in me. Your belief is misplaced, but I will not let you down, sir or madam. Let's darken this part right here as well. Gotta make sure that there is ample contrast between all the different parts. Something like this looks fine. We should probably make sure that it's maybe spreads out a little bit more. No, that's too much. That is definitely too much. Oh my god, dude, how long have I been streaming? hour and 40 on this drawing. This looks terrible for an hour and 40. Like, legitimately, I would say this looks awful. I don't, it's not looking good. We must salvage it. You know what, the hands, no one's gonna look at the hands, so we're gonna just kind of very, very quickly add like a little bit more shadow right here. A little bit more shadow. Just kind of get the idea that there is something there. Something like this, that looks fine. I just can't believe I'm taking so long on a drawing that was supposed to be just a simple thing, just a fun little distraction, nothing crazy. And now I'm like, holy cow, am I ever gonna finish this? I'm gonna make this part a little bit like that, just to continue on with the shadow. That looks a little bit better. That's very insane. That contrast is insane right there. Let me keep the mimosa thing right there, right with me, so I know what I'm doing. Now there's a little bit of this like darker color around the apron, and we're gonna make sure that we have that present. I'm gonna darken this whole part. It's because like I've noticed that the artist used like a lot of like outlines in place of shadows, so that's not the best way of doing these things, but whatever. Let's be positive, let's be positive. Yeah, those four lines really did improve a lot of the hands, but I still need the other hands to fix, and those will not be able to be fixed so easily. Those other hands are going to be the death of me. I cannot draw simple stuff. I've noticed that in my life. I just don't know how to draw simple things. I say it's simple and then it takes a million years. Like that, it kind of looks like a little strawberry. It's really cute. Like that. And we add these little dots as well. There, it's like a little strawberry right there. It looks cute, very nice, very good. So wholesome, 1000. Let's add that. Oh my god, this part right there, gotta make this part dark as well. It's like, that looks like a bow, right? That looks pretty good. Art truly is very addicting. I remember somebody once said that art is one of the worst things. It makes me feel terrible and is bad, but the only thing worse than making art is not making art. And I wouldn't say my relationship with art is that bad, but like, oh my god, I'm constantly struggling. I'm constantly letting the painting get out of my hands, and it never turns out good. Like right here, it was supposed to be quick. I was supposed to even draw something else as well, but nope, no can do. Make that part a little darker, just like that. Perfect, perfect. I'm gonna have to make a little bit, like the skin needs to be a little bit more reddish around this part right here, around the cheeks. That way it looks like not only that subsurface scattering thing, but the cheeks generally are going to be a lot pinker than the other parts. Same thing with the nose. The nose should be just a little bit more reddish. It does kind of look like a Shopkins character, absolutely. I'm gonna make this part also a little bit red, a little bit more red. That looks a lot more lively right there, just like that. That looks more lively. Same thing is gonna happen once I add a little bit of these lines right here. Let's add this line and this right here. My brush really invaded certain parts of the drawing. Perfect. We're gonna add a little bit of shadow underneath, right under the eyes right there. And make it like a bluish purple. Holy cow. There. This. Yep, that looks about right. I would probably darken this part even more. Again, it's gotta pop. Gotta make sure that the art pops. I think one of the worst things your art can be is boring. So I need to make sure that it's interesting to look at. But there's plenty of stuff right there on the page. Well, on the screen, I guess. Something like this, that looks pretty good, cute, perfect. Let's add a little bit of this part right here. Looks much better like this. I'm gonna darken this part as well. This is getting way too tiring. I hate this so much. Perfect. Okay, that's fine. It's good. It's good. Let's darken this part as well. I'm gonna also darken the eyes. I mean, they're brown already, so we're just gonna lighten the bottom and then we put highlights. And that's it. That's all the eyes are gonna be. KAMSA says my relationship with art is basically like whipping it into shape. Yeah, that's a fairly accurate way of saying it. Absolutely. I mean, Michelangelo said that within every piece of marble, there is a human body desperately trying to come out. And I would say that desperation, that is definitely in my art. Let's add the highlight. And all of this is just like one big layer. Just like that. Just like this. I'm going to add another highlight right there. Looks so much more interesting like this. Darken a little bit of the eyelashes. I think we can darken them just a smidge more. This entire part right there. And that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Very nice. I'm also going to brighten this part even more. Let's try to get that like really close to just pure white. She looks very hyper-realistic. No, she does not, but thank you very much. I will hope that that was a compliment. Something like this right here. This is kind of where the mouth is. Same thing right there. I'm gonna add just like this highlight. It's not in the reference, but I do think that if we add something like this, it will look a little bit better. There's this shadow right here that I missed. Not that dark, just a little bit lighter. Perfect. This part right here should be lighter. Kind of is looking towards the this lighter part of the drawing. I'm gonna add a little bit of this little thing right here in the eyes. I'm going to also lighten this part right here and maybe add like something like this. Just kind of notice that this part just looks kind of weird. I don't know what it is, but it's not quite right. Maybe it's something like that. Looks a little bit better. And finally, I'm gonna darken this part that is really close to the hair. I'm gonna separate that a little bit more. Same thing here. I'm noticing that I'm just not adding, I'm not being daring enough. I'm not adding enough like really dark parts, you know? She looks like she's about to give you an inspiring speech. Maybe she will. Maybe she is the manic pixie dream girl. Right there, she's gonna tell you about how you need to get your shit together. So what if you got your heart broken? Serves you right for having feelings. Or maybe she's not like that. Who knows? That is very intense. Yes, these eyes are really intense right there. She reminds me like a picture you would see over someone's casket in the funeral. Holy cow, Camsta. I will say I don't know what kind of funerals you're going to. I don't think this type of photo is very common. Not in the funerals I've been to. But who knows? I've been to like 2 funerals. Yep. Okay, the drawing is almost finished. I would probably increase the contrast of just about everything, but that's not really a choice right now. I'm going to maybe choose like a color dodge mode, and I'm going to kind of add some lighting right here on the socks. Just kind of make it look a little bit more three-dimensional because it's kind of looking a bit flat. Oh, that is insane. I'm gonna set it to a very, very low opacity, and I'll do several passes of that. Something a bit like this, that looks better. Same thing, just like a little bit here. And we'll choose like a bluish color, and we'll just like kind of add that over in this spot. Something like that. That looks fine. And I'm noticing that there should be way more contrast here. Oh, I was in color dodge mode still. Let's get something like this, and we should darken this entire area. Everything where this hand is making contact with the leg, that entire part needs to be darker. Regina George. I assume you peeps have watched Mean Girls, right? It's like one of the best movies. Her feet. Why are you talking about the feet of the character? We don't even see the feet here. I'm gonna darken this part even more. Oh my gosh. Okay, this other hand is gonna be the pain, the bane of my existence. The worst parts, this hand is very, very complex. It's not a simple hand, but we need to just start by making some parts a lot darker. So like there's this shadow right here. It's like right below. This is kind of where the fingers are. And I've noticed I didn't really have enough like separation between the fingers before. So we'll see if we can fix that. There's this entire part that's darker. And I'm gonna try to zoom out just a little bit. One of the worst things that you could possibly do in art, in a drawing, is zooming in too early. And I definitely did that. I zoomed in way too early in this drawing, and that's why that hand looks bizarre, completely anatomically incorrect. Do as I say, not as I do, because I keep zooming in, but you shouldn't. When your brain starts being like, you know, I should zoom in and start adding the details before I... No, that's the devil talking right there. Ignore it. Focus on getting most of the drawing looking right. And then you can do all the fancy details. Before that, no. Don't zoom in, keep it outside, keep it further away. And it's already looking much better. And it's just like, I'm just trying to refine a little bit more of these edges. Just trying to get the language of the shapes looking good and correct. Something like that. That looks a lot better so far. Her feet are oddly long. They are pretty long, but I think it's fine. I'm gonna just like add even more highlights right here. And really the light part of the hands is only like at that very top. I needed to make this shadow longer right there. Like that, that's a little bit more like what we're looking at in the reference. And I'm gonna make this shadow a little bit more like blurry, like kind of bring the shadow just a little bit more to the left. I think that kind of improves a lot of the readability of the hand here. Now there's still this part that should be a little bit lighter, this part like that as well. That looks a little bit better, not quite that much, but something like that. Why are you guys talking about the length of this character's feet? Do we have Quentin Tarantino somewhere in the chat or something? Ooh. Okay, the hands, we don't see if they have like any nail polish. I'm gonna keep it like that then. I think the hands could be kept like this. I think this looks perfectly reasonable for a pair of hands in a drawing that was supposed to be just something quick. We could add some highlight right here. Like that, that looks good. I think most of this drawing is looking pretty snazzy. Just like it has very few parts that still need fixing. Something like that. One thing is that I'm missing a lot of the texture. K-Hamster always starts stuff. Yeah, he definitely does. But I'll defend him. He's pretty cool. This part right here, I don't know when I messed up right there. I think the hair is just, I'm going to do what I call an awesome technique, which is just embrace the fact that this looks like anime already and kind of draw it at the lighting like if it was anime. That is way too long of a name, but whatever. Something like that. Just like add the little band of light. And before anyone says anything, yeah, it's a very lazy way of doing this type of thing, but I've already spent way more time than I should on this drawing. So we're just gonna do it this way, make it a little bit darker right there. Yeah, it does suit the drawing pretty well, thankfully. I think this does look pretty good. But I did originally plan it to look like a bit more realistic than this. This is a very cartoony way of doing this light and shadow. But whatever, I do still think it looks nice. And darken this part, maybe make it a little bit more orange right there. Kind of give it a little bit more personality. Something like that, that looks good. And then I'm going to go with just like pure white. I'm gonna make my brush real small and I'm gonna just like add like some more highlights. Something like that. I mean, if we're already doing pretty cartoony drawing, we might as well go pretty crazy with how we do our highlights. Something like that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, this is looking pretty nice, perfect. I'm gonna lighten this part right here just because I'm noticing that it's starting to make the, this part of the hair blend in with the, with the thumb, and that doesn't look quite right to me. I'm gonna just kind of darken that part, lighten some parts else. Nah. We do need to have that part be dark. There, I think that looks nice. Maybe I went a little bit crazy with these highlights. They might look a bit too strong. So I'm gonna make sure that I do something like this. And maybe I will go back to my mixer brush and just kind of blend these in a little bit more. Don't think I forgot about the mixer brush. I'm going to also add some highlights over here in this part as well. I do not want to forget about that. Let's add just a little bit more of some light right there. I'm going to make it a heavy mix, I guess. No, that's way too much. Maybe moist. Let's have it be moist, moist, moist. She looks like a memory. She does. Get some of the light right here, and we're going to make this part brighter. Just kind of get that nice and bright, keep it orange-ish. Let's get this other part also like that, but a little bit more purple-ish. That way we kind of have this reflected light. Small detail, you barely notice it. I think this is basically almost done. I do want to add a few more things, like let's add some wrinkles to the clothes. And at this point, I've just completely thrown out the idea that this is supposed to be a quick drawing. It obviously is not. Something like that, just add like the most basic wrinkles that you could possibly add to these clothes. Like that. Just kind of make it look not so completely perfect, because that's not how any clothes work at all. Maybe something like this would look a little bit better. We can also darken this part right there. This entire part is just like really perfect. I'm not quite sure I like that. Man, I don't like how there's basically no texture in this drawing. Looks a bit too flat. Okay. Can you guys just like vote in the chat? Should I break my rule of only one brush and just like use like a splatter brush on this? Just kind of make it look a little bit more. Yeah, I think it would look a lot more interesting if I were to add different types of textures to it. Maybe with another type of brush. Let me know in the chat. Let me know. I'll break the painting. Okay, we have a vote for no, for keeping it with just this one brush. Tilted Teal says break the rule. Splatter, splatter, splatter. Okay, there's a lot. There's suddenly they want me to use the splatter brush. Okay, we'll do it. I'm gonna just like, this is just like a small thing. It's not gonna look like super different, but I do think that's gonna make it look a little bit better. So like something like that just kind of adds a bit of splatter of color. Like that. Just something like this. Yeah, that does, it looks pretty good like this. And I'm actually gonna even like break a little bit of this part and just like add a bit of splatter outside of the borders of the painting. Maybe something like that. I'm gonna add a bit of splatter right here. And we're also gonna add some on the legs right there. Let's try to make sure that this drawing looks interesting, different, unique, fabulous. I'm keeping my like everything kind of zoomed out because I want to make sure that whatever splashes that I add are like helping the piece like speak to me, you know. Something like that. Let's add a few more right there. Ooh, that looks nice. Add some like this. Yeah, it does. You know, it does look like a bit of like powdered donut type thing. This is why it's super helpful to have these types of brushes every now and then. It's just like, oh, you can do so much with this. It's gonna go a bit outside right there. I'm kind of going crazy here. I think this looks excellent now. And I could also use it to hide a bit of the like more robotic ways that I draw these things. Something like that. That looks better. Oops, I stopped selecting anything. And right here, the hair as well. Let's add a little bit more of this. Ooh, that's way too much. When it comes to this splatter brush, it's so easy to accidentally go overboard, which is kind of what I'm doing here, but what else? Like, I think a big part of making art is just like winging things, just kind of go a little bit crazy. I think that looks good. What do you think? What can the smiley brush not do? Yeah, the smiley brush can do all of this and more. Let's add a little bit of the smiley brush. Where is it? There. Let's not cover the whole thing. I'm gonna add just a few slight splashes of this smiley brush. Just like in random places. Let's see, somewhere like right here. I can add just a little bit. Ooh, that's way too much. Make it a little bit more like this. Something like that. just a bit of the smiley brush. Let's not go crazy with it. The powdered sugar brush. Long. Let's add some smiles right here. We're like the smiling friends. I'm like Mr. Boss right now. Oh, we might as well have a few big smileys right here. That eases a little bit of that transition. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. Let's add this right here. Let's make this part, let's blend it a little bit, and let's kind of make this whole part a little bit brighter. Nah, it's a bit much. Let's kind of have it be just like a small thing right there. Yep, the smiley brush is just like the best brush. It's a bit overpowered in that regard. I'm basically done. I don't know what else could possibly be added that would make this drawing better, you know? I think that's just right. I'm going to go to the camera raw filter, and I'm going to maybe increase a little bit of the contrast just like that. I do think that I'm kind of losing that a bit. No, the shadows are fine the way they are. I'm gonna just keep it like this. I think that looks slightly better. I know there's no difference. No, whatever. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of like a shadow on the floor. I'm noticing that the background of this one has all of these like polka dot patterns. Oh, so I just realized, I think this is a tail, no? She's got a tail. Do I add the tail to her? Oh my god, I don't want to add another thing. And it's a whole bunch of different colors. Let's use our smiley brush to add a tail. It's like, okay, maybe the smiley brush is not the best brush to use. What kind of tail is this? Just like that at the back right there. It's just like something like this. Like that. It's a bit like this with a little heart at the very end. That's the little tail. And I just realized it's coming out of nowhere. That will not do. This is the furry chat room. We will not make our tails look incorrect. We have them come out from the bottom right here. That's the only correct way of doing this. I'm going to erase this entire part right here. Just kind of get the tail to have that swoosh effect. Yeah, I know, we need accuracy. This is where, I'm just gonna have it be like it's coming out from the very bottom. And I'm noticing there's like no shading here at all. It's just like, just a bunch of different colors. So I'm gonna just like lock that in. I'm gonna lock that in, and I'm gonna just start adding a bunch of random colors. Then I just like make this a little bit more blue. We make it a little bit more green. I notice that all of them are just like these very bright colors. a little bit of yellow right here, and maybe a red. It's like a straight up red. There. That looks right. I'm gonna make this darker though, because I do think that it's a bit too much. Ooh, no. Maybe more saturated and darker. Yeah, I think this is slightly darker but more saturated. That looks a lot better. Now you call this, yeah, I call you guys the furry chat room because we're all animals here, obviously. I'm gonna cut the canvas just a little bit, just make it like that and make it just a smidge wider. Maybe something like this would work. I noticed that it was locked, oopsie doopsie. Ooh, no. How do I get this to look right? Or maybe we just crop a little bit of the tail. Are we okay with the tail cropped? No. No, we are not. I just don't know if I should make it that much wider. I think that looks better. We have a little bit more space on either side. And the background like has a bunch of colors, I noticed. That's fine. I'm gonna make it mostly like pink. I'm just gonna make it mostly pink. Choose like maybe a more like saturated, a darker pink maybe. Maybe we could choose like an opposite, like what's the opposite of pink, or maybe like a blue. Bluish, purplish, that works a lot better. Something like this, I think everything pops like that. Yeah, everything pops since the character is mostly like that. You want a wobble gong brush? I don't know. Wobble gong brush. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna search up the wobble gong. I'm gonna see if I can find like a transparent version of the wobble gong. Does this look right to you? Is this a wobble gong? I mean, that's what I searched right now. Yeah, that's a wobble gong. Okay. I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna convert it to like grayscale. I'm gonna desaturate it, and I am going to have it set, I'm gonna make it brush. We're doing it. I'm gonna define that as a brush. It's the wobble gong. Like that, we got a brush. It's a wobble gong brush. Yes, it's actually happening. Of course it's happening. I'm gonna have it be like this. Now, the important part about brushes is not this. This is not important. We need to make sure it has enough spacing so then the brush can speak to us. The shape dynamic, we're gonna make it apply pen pressure. We will still jitter the size a little bit. Let's keep the diameter like 20. The angle jitter will be just like random, however we want it to be. The roundness will be slightly like that. The scattering, we're gonna have several and we're gonna scatter them quite a bit. Maybe we should space them out even more. No, I think like this can work. And we're going to set up the color dynamics. We're gonna have a nice strong hue jitter, a bit of saturation, and that's about it. And hopefully that makes it look a little bit more interesting. So we have this brush. Yes, you are influencers. You are taking control of my very weird background. Now, I'm gonna make this part right here, we're gonna make it brighter. Now, the one thing is that obviously, holy cow. Obviously, it's, at the end, you're not going to be able to see very well the wobble gong. just because, you know, it's yeah, there's going to be too many all together, but I think it's still going to look good. It's going to look pretty cool. I'm going to darken this part right there. Like, I'm imagining that there's like a light, a spotlight right there. It's like a spotlight. It's coming from the sides, and we're gonna make this side maybe not as dark but more blue, because that's like the light is more blue here, like that. That looks pretty good. Yes, you can still see them, thankfully. We're gonna get this, and we got to darken all the parts that are in shadow. So this whole part is gonna be in shadow. This entire area is dark. Just like that. Again, I'm using a reference for this. We are using references. Alright, something like this that improves things. I'm gonna darken the shadows even more. Let's have a bit more of that contrast. We want contrast in our drawing. That's important. And we're gonna have some parts a little bit lighter, less contrast right there, but still darker. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna darken this part right there. The Wobbegong dance, absolutely. Just making it a little bit more interesting. Let's add that. Make sure it's everywhere. The whole background is a bunch of Wobbegongs, so you can barely see because it's very light. But we can still see just a little bit, especially like we can especially kind of see the shape, like the outline of the Wobbegong. This is gonna be so hard to explain because like I'm gonna post this in ArtFight, and the person is going to be confused of what kind of texture it is in the background. I'm going to make some parts a little bit brighter, a little bit more saturated. Yeah, that's good. Just the Wobbegongs moving around is excellent. Wait, I got a call. I'm gonna have to answer this. I'll be back in just like a second. Marvel at this. Hola. Yeah. Yeah. Sí, cómprala. Vaya. Sí, puedes comprarla. Sí, ok, es porque estoy en transmisión. Estás en vivo. Sí, ya sé. Sí, 300 es perfecto, es más de lo que necesitamos. No te preocupes. Sí, gracias. So sorry for that. I did not know how to mute my own mic. Okay. Do you guys have any other idea of what we can add to this drawing, or have we found perfection itself? Have we achieved perfection? Oh my god, you know Spanish. God dang. I think it looks good. I'm gonna put camera raw filter, and I'm gonna just like increase that a little bit of the vignette, like that. Yeah, this is the pinnacle of art. I don't think any art piece that I will make ever is going to top this one. I think this is where I've peaked. I'm gonna darken just a bit more. I just have to make sure that it looks like the feet are actually on the floor and not like floating. Yeah, it's like she's in an aquarium. That sounds fun. I think it's basically done. I'm gonna just add like, not shading to the tail, but I'm going to add just like a bit of light to the tail. I'm going to put it a color dodge. I'm going to set it like this. And I'm just going to add some light, and it's going to also be using the Wobbegong brush. Just like that. Is this my new favorite brush? Maybe. But it is kind of difficult to work with. This is not an easy brush. But I think the drawing is finished. I'm going to darken just a little bit. Darken that just a bit while increasing the saturation. I think that would look a little bit better. And like that. Absolute cinema. We went from this, we used this to make the whole background. The entire background is just a bunch of Wobbegongs. Yes, sometimes I do funny voices when I think that nobody's in the chat. It's just that for some reason, like I'm using OBS, and the software, for no reason, sometimes it tells me that there are 0 people online, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's 0 people. I'll just do whatever I want. And I start like making weird voices and stuff, and yeah, that confuses people. Let's add a few Wobbegongs here. Just a subtle detail. I think it's done. Now I'm gonna do what I do with every single drawing of mine. You know what? One last thing. I know I keep saying, oh, I'm done, but then I don't finish. But I do think that there should be more contrast in the, and with the hair. I feel like the hair doesn't have enough contrast from the hair to the face. So I'm going to just darken this part right here, just like slightly. Make it a little bit darker, and I think that's it. I think I've spent way too much time on this one drawing. Even though it is perfection, I have peaked. Yeah, even though I've peaked, I think it's about time that we finish, and I'm gonna show you guys the process that I do for like for post processing. Okay, now I'm gonna flatten the image, man. I'm gonna merge everything, just completely merge it, flatten image. I'm gonna duplicate it into a new place, new everything. So I have this. It's perfect. And now I'm going to like duplicate the layer, and Photoshop has like some interesting stuff like auto tone. Like we notice it just like darkened the whole dang thing, and that's just telling me that most likely I have too many light parts and not enough dark parts, and that's something that I had noticed. I do feel like that I need a little bit more of that, so I'm going to use my levels curve. I'm gonna use the levels curve to just like improve that a little bit more, and if you notice, it's like very subtle. It's not like the most insane thing, but I think it looks better. You could also do the same thing with like curves. This kind of gives you a lot more like control, I guess. And that looks nice too. But the reason why I have 2 layers is also because I can like fine tune that, but whatever. I'm gonna keep it like that. and I'm merging down. I'm gonna put like auto color, and it just completely screwed it up. I think the colors are fine the way they are. This, I think it's too much contrast. Let's put it low, let's increase it like that. And I think this looks a little bit better. Yeah, you guys are the OGs. Like, you guys are like top notch right here. Okay, once I have that, I go to calculations, and you can put like red, green, blue, like something that goes close to what you want it to be. And I think something like this kind of has the best like contrast. So you put it to new document, select everything, and then you paste over it. And this is kind of looks like crud, but if you put it in luminosity, you can like selectively darken some parts of the drawing. Like right there, what it's darkening is mostly like the background. And I think that looks a little bit better, looks more interesting. And like if you were forgetting how it looked like in the beginning, it looked like this, it looks washed out, and now it looks more interesting. I also like to add usually like a high pass filter, which makes it look like this, which this looks like really weird. But if you put it like overlay, it just looks like really sharp. Suddenly really sharp. You put it a little bit lower, and that's a bit better. Wait, I gotta open the door. Oh my God. I am back. Just had to open the. Oh my God. Can you guys hear that microphone? I am trying so hard to put it on right now. Yes, okay, yeah. Okay, now that I have this, like it's a bit sharp, a bit too sharp, and really I only want the sharpness in the, in the foreground. So what I do is I go in here with a like eraser brush, and I erase the background parts I don't want to be overly sharpened, and I just keep the foreground. Foreground is what I want, the subject. Everything else should not be sharp. And it's really subtle, and most likely YouTube compression is going to absolutely kill it. But I think that looks better. Then we can add the most stereotypical thing ever. And we're gonna add the most stereotypical thing ever, and it's a little bit of I take off the red and blue values, and it just gives me the green, and now I can do this. Adds chromatic aberration, and I think that softens the view a little bit. It's like I sharpen it and I soften it, and finally I go to like the camera raw filter. Again, it's one of my favorite filters because it gives you so much control, and I go and I add just like a little bit of, like I increase the texture, and I add grain. I usually try to zoom in a little bit on the actual drawing, and I add some grain. You could like go like really extreme, like if it's a really, really weird photo, but I just add just like a little bit, not a lot. Something like this just really makes a whole thing just work together. I think something like that is perfect. And then I like add a little signature. You might as well use the Wobbegong brush for the signature. Can I use this as a signature brush? I have no idea. Gonna make it like this, and we're gonna take off the scattering and the count. We're just gonna have it be like this. We're using the Wobbegong for everything because the Wobbegong brush works for anything that you want. Something like this, and I'll add my little signature. It's something like this. It's just too thick. I mean, you're not even going to tell that there's any type of weird brush effects on this. Whatever, something like that. Oh god. I usually do not show this part of my drawing process because I mess up so many times on my own signature, but what else? That merged down, and I usually have it be a color dodge, a little bit with opacity, just kind of make it look interesting. And just like that, the drawing is finished. Then I just export it, and I usually export it in at least 3 different versions. And I always make sure that's somewhere here, like in a folder. We're gonna call it Mimosa, because that's the character. We're gonna title it Mimosa, and this is 4K. This is the 4K version, highest quality. Then I always make a much smaller version, like 1080p on the least wide part, and that one I usually call it HD. And then I do one without the without the signature in the highest quality, just so then I have one that is like free of any other extra stuff, even though legitimately I never actually use it. I always like to have the signature there because this is something I made. Even though I did in fact take way too long on this, it's been over 2 hours at this point. I think this has been the best art fight revenge anyone has ever seen. It's perfection, it's gorgeous, as you guys are saying. I would like to thank you so much for watching. If you are somehow not subscribed, please subscribe right now. This has been a journey and a half. Thank you so much. Share this with your friends. And sadly, this is where I'm gonna have to leave you guys. I've been streaming for way too long, and my doctor did tell me rest your voice as much as possible. Don't be moving your mouth. You just had a surgery there, but I don't listen. I think this has been a fun time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully, I'll be live streaming either Thursday or Friday. Goodbye. We are leaving in 3, 2, 1.